welcome to My Table of Three. If you're new here, my name is Carrie. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm so excited to join in with Linda over at Tuliloo Creates in her November's collaboration called Dough-vember. So if you're not familiar with this, that means you've missed quite a few videos because they started coming out on the 1st and there's 1 or 2 a day. So be sure and check out the playlist that I put in my link below to catch up on those and see the ones that will run all the way through the end of November. Also on December the 1st, Linda is going to be giving away a prize, maybe even a couple of prizes. I'm not real sure, but I know at least one prize over on her channel, which I'll link below as well. Now, Dough-vember is all about dough. It could be store-bought dough, it could be scratch-made dough, yeast dough, sourdough, any kind of dough. Cookie dough probably, pie dough, it's all dough. And you're really going to see probably a wide variety in this collaboration. That's why I'm excited to be a part of it. So I'm going to do for you today some of my favorite sourdough naan. It is just a bread recipe that we like to have with curries and different things. We also can make pizzas out of it. You can make like vegan pizzas with some refried beans and lettuce and tomato and onions on top. You could do pepperoni pizza on top, or you can have it like with curry or rice and beans, anything like that. If you're new to sourdough, this is an easy one that you can start with. There's not a lot of that pull and stretch and fold. Basically, you're going to feed your starter, let it double and get very active, and then you are ready to go. The recipe that I use, I'm going to put in the description to you, so you'll have that. Now, let's jump over, and I'm going to do the first part of the recipe tonight because you do it and then you let it set and then double. So let's get over here by the KitchenAid and see how I put the naan together. And then we'll let it set overnight and come back in the morning and show you how I divide it up into 12 different pieces of naan. And we're going to cook it in one of my cast iron skillets. So let's jump into Dough-vember and get started with our easy sourdough naan bread. All right, so we're going to start our mix on our sourdough naan. The first thing I'm going to do is put in a half a cup of water. It does not have to be warm. It can be it does not have to be hot. It can be room temperature, but do not do tap water, okay? It needs to be filtered water with no chlorine. So I'm going to add that in. And I have it on a scale right now, but you don't have to measure your water. It's a half a cup. But I do measure out, you can do a cup of starter, or I actually you can see mine's very active and bubbly. If you want to see a video, we can tell by the bubbles around here. How I feed my starters, I'll link that up in iCard. And I'm just going to pour in about, let me see here. About 100 grams. There we go. So 100 grams, and that is the only thing I'm going to weigh, okay? And so I'm going to put it on here. That's my half a cup of water. My starter, that's active. I fed it a few hours ago, and it doubled. Next thing you're going to do is a 1/3 cup of Greek yogurt. Now, I don't keep Greek yogurt on hand to eat because I'm not a fan of yogurt, so I like to have this shelf-stable bag of Judy's Greek yogurt, and I just rehydrate it and put it in my naan bread when I need it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that 1/3 cup of Greek yogurt in there. Now this Greek yogurt, you know, it's going to give a little bit of moisture to it, some flavor with your sourdough, and it's also it's going to help work with your sourdough starter to help your naan fluff up. Okay, the next thing you're going to need is 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You don't have to use bread flour for naan. All-purpose will work. So 3 1/4 cups. And this recipe is going to be in the description. All right. Next thing you're going to do is about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of salt. If you want gram measure it, you can do, and that's about it. You could do 15 to 20 grams would be about enough salt. Next thing we're going to do is our oil. You need 2 tablespoons. You can use olive oil. Today I'm using grapeseed oil. Let me go ahead and do that. So that's 1, 2. And then you also need 2 teaspoons of honey. I'm going to see if I can just, that's the little lid to my honey ring come off. I'm going to see if I can get it to come off. I'm just going to do, a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons, so I'm just going to do almost a tablespoon. But I want to use that one where my oil was so my honey comes out easy. Okay. All right, so we're going to do that. It's going to add just a tiny bit of sweetness, but it's also going to be some food for our starter. So that's it. That's all you add to it. That's all I add to mine, I guess I could say. I'm gonna put my dough hook in my KitchenAid here, and I'm gonna bring it all together. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let you watch it, but I'm gonna mute the sound so you don't have to hear the mixer, and then we will go from there. Shaggy dough. I did have to add probably 3 more tablespoons of water. Sometimes it does that, you guys. The weather will make a difference in your doughs and stuff. So just kind of jump. You want it to be come together in a ball like this. It's not going to be sticky like your sourdough bread loaves will be, you know, where you get the stretch and pull. But we're just going to let this set for 30 minutes. I'll come back and show you how I knead it for a few minutes, and then I'll tell you what you do from there. Alright, 30 minutes is up, and so now what I'm going to do is let it sit for a minute. You can see that it's not sticky to the touch, not like your sourdough breads are when they're really hydrated and you have to push and pull. Now what you're going to do is knead it for 8 minutes. You can do it by hand, or I'm going to do it actually with this mixer. So let's jump in and do that really quick. I'll play you some pretty music while this thing kneads and speed it up a little bit, and then I'll come back and tell you how we're going to get this thing ready to do your long ferment or your bulk ferment. You guys, so you saw me do 4 minutes in the mixer, and I went ahead and changed to 4 minutes of kneading on the counter to show you that you could do it by hand. Now you have this lovely smooth dough, and it is ready to bulk ferment. Now this, you don't have to do a long ferment in the refrigerator. Like if you're familiar with sourdough, a lot of times you will put your dough in the refrigerator after it bulk ferments on your counter. This is super easy. You don't have to do the tedious pull and stretches. After kneading this for 8 minutes, it's ready to go. So I just put a little bit of oil in my bowl. I do slosh it around a little bit so it's coated. And then you're going to put a damp towel over it. And now it is going to stay on the counter for 8 hours or up to 12 hours. It really just depends on how the temperature is in your home. In our home, we keep our home pretty cool. So sometimes mine takes 12 hours, but your goal is to get this dough, and I'll show you what it looks like, to double in size. So you can just set it on your counter. If it's about 80 degrees in your house or more, well, 80 or higher, it's probably going to ferment in probably about 5 or 6 hours, maybe 8 hours. But what do we keep ours at? Probably about 75, or sometimes at night, because this will sit out overnight, because at night I like to turn the air down, so it's probably be about 72 or so. So this will actually take probably about 12 hours. This is what it normally does to double on my countertop, which is going to give that sourdough starter time to eat up all the stuff in the sourdough, which is going to be fermenting, and it's going to make it easier to digest, and it's going to make it taste really good. It's going to give you that real good sourdough taste. So this is it. For the next 8 to 12 hours, or until yours doubles, depending on how long it takes, it's done. You could just set it on your counter, cover it so nothing can get to it, and let it double in size. So I will come back probably in the morning and show you what mine looks like when it doubles in size, and show you the next steps. Good morning. It's early the next morning. I was going to show you what the dough looks like. You can definitely see that it has doubled in size. Yeah, so we're going to dump this out onto a floured surface, and we're going to cut it using my dough cutter into 12 pieces. It's not gonna be exact, but I'm gonna show you how I do it. And I kind of not trying to make them the same size, and then I just roll them out. You know, naan bread is usually like an oval. I've seen it in square shapes, but I really don't care what shape mine is in, so I'll just roll it out till I think it's about a 1/4 of an inch thick, and then I'm gonna roll them all out at once. Typically I roll them and then put them in a pan. While that one's cooking, I roll another one, but to make short today, the process, I'm gonna roll them all out pretty quickly here, and then we're gonna move over to the stove and cook them in cast iron skillet. So I'm gonna stop, pan you down, and show you how I do this pretty quickly so we can get them cooked this morning. We have to go volunteer at our local pet shelter this morning. It's something my son does at least once a month, and so I wanna have these ready when we come back for lunch today, so they'll be ready for lunch. So we can make them into pizzas or sandwiches, or eat them with beans and rice, whatever we decide to eat today. So let's get started. All right, guys, hopefully it's kind of cloudy here, so hopefully the lighting is going to hold, but I have all my rolled naan bread here. I'm getting just a cast iron skillet. I did brush it just a little bit with some grapeseed oil. You can do avocado oil, and I'm just going to throw them in there. It's pretty hot, and these are going to cook pretty quickly. You can hear that sizzle. They're going to get brown on the top, and then when you flip them over, they're going to get a little char to them. So I'm just going to keep cooking these off really quick, and I'll show you when I flip them in a minute. And then I'll kind of set you down and let you watch the process, because I won't make you stay and watch me cook all 12 of these. All right, so these first two, you can see how they have puffed up, and we're just going to flip them over, and they're going to be a little bit brown, and now they are going to, the parts that flipped up are going to cook, and you can see I have my temperature pretty high there. It's on 8 for me, but as the skillet gets hotter, you'll need to turn it down some, but we're just going to let these cook for about another minute. They are done. Like I said, they cook really fast, and these are going to have the pretty like char marks on the bubbles. Let's see. Let's take a look at them. See how they're getting? They're not quite done yet. So we're going to let them. And if you don't have a seasoned skillet, if your skillet sticks, then you need to season it really well before you do this so the bread doesn't stick, so it's easy to flip and turn. But my skillet's seasoned really well, but I still do a little bit of the oil just for flavor. And sometimes I will take these out, put them on this cooling rack right here, and brush them with a little bit of olive oil and sprinkle with some garlic and salt and things like that, just to give them some extra flavor. But today I'm just going to leave them plain. And see how that looks? They are ready. So we're just going to put them over there. And I'm going to throw 2 more in. Like literally throw 2 more in. And I'm going to cook these and then the rest of these, and I'll come back and show you when I'm done, because it's just that simple. All 12 have been cooked, and you can see how beautiful they are with their charred little bubbles. You can see how they poofed up in little bubbles. That gives you little air pockets in there. These will be so good. These also freeze very well. You can layer them in parchment paper and put them in a gallon-sized bag and then let them freeze. When you get ready to eat them, just pull them out about an hour or so, hour and a half before you get ready to eat them, and they will thaw. You can also reheat them by wrapping them up in some foil and just heating them in the oven for a few minutes. But they are so good. They're so soft. They're just really good and an easy sourdough recipe for beginners. So I hope you liked watching the process here. I had a little camera trouble here and there, but hopefully I got enough of the process for you guys to see how easy that was. And that's it. That's my easy sourdough naan bread for this November 1st video here of mine. I have 2 videos actually, one on today and again on the 20th of November. So be sure and watch out for my next video. Again, make sure you check out the full playlist below. Check out all the great creators and all their wonderful dough recipes. Also, make sure you check out Linda's channel, Tuliloo Creates. And remember that she's having a live giveaway for a prize or so on, it is December the 1st. So check out her channel. Be sure you subscribe to all the wonderful YouTube creators that you're going to see in this collaboration. So you'll see more great content throughout the year. And that's it for me in this installment. I hope you've liked seeing the easy sourdough. And until then, my name is Carrie. If you're new here, thanks so much for coming over. I hope you'll stick around if you like what you see. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.